Good afternoon, everyone. We hope that you're all safe and healthy. We would like to welcome you all on our career orientation, mentoring, and program advising series, or C.O.M.P.A.S. C.O.M.P.A.S is one of the Academic Affairs Office's new initiatives to adapt to the changing learning landscape, to ensure that our students would still have the same quality of education and continuous learning. C.O.M.P.A.S is a series of featured interviews from respective industry experts from different disciplines. They will share their journey to success, from the reason why they chose their college degree and how it's affected their current career. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others, by Mahatma Gandhi. Our speaker is a tenured hotelier with various experience both locally and abroad. He started as a front desk agent at the Makati Shangri-La and rose to become the Director of Business Development. Exposed to multicultural and diverse work environments, he moved to become the Director of Sales in Shangri-La Mactan, Cebu for 2 years, after which moving overseas and becoming the Director of Sales for Shangri-La Bangkok until of May 2013. He is now currently with the Peninsula Bangkok as the Director of Sales. Our speaker knows the value of hard work. Let us hear his story and journey on becoming one of the top management in several multinational properties here and abroad. Let us all welcome Mr. Jed Arricivita.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jed. Thank you very much, Jam, for the introduction. I'm really very privileged to be here, to be with all of you today, and to share with you my journey in the hospitality industry for the past 20 years now, I would say. And I hope that my story would be an inspiration to all of you, especially to those students who are still thinking of what profession to take, what best degree that you would allow yourself to pursue your dreams. And, with the end goal of living a fulfilled life, be financially sound, have a happy family, and to get to travel around the world. All these small aspirations when you were all young. And for those of you who have been wanting to explore the opportunities in the hospitality industry, but are currently worried that, with our current situation right now with the global pandemic, you might think that this might not be the best industry for you to pursue because of all these, uncertainties brought about by the global pandemic. We don't know whether this will, we will even recover, but I'm sure we will. But we don't know what's really happening, further from here. But, I don't want you to get sideswept with that idea. I would encourage you to please hear me out, hear my story, spare me your time today, and, allow me to encourage you, allow me to have you have a better understanding and to experience and have a better understanding of the industry, the hospitality industry that is, the challenges, the successes, and the great opportunities that actually go with it. Okay, so let me begin by giving you a bit of a background about myself. This is my family, the Arricivitas. I have two very energetic young boys, a 10 and a 6-year-old. Javier is my eldest son, who was born in Cebu, my wife Irma, and my youngest Caleb. And I would tell you that, every day I needed to drink 10 bottles of Red Bull just to catch up with their energy. Sobra yung energy nitong dalawang boys na to. And I really admire my wife's effort, in really taking care of them. I'm based in Thailand, in Bangkok. We've been living here for the past, to be very exact, 9 years and 8 months. We moved back in December 2010. I hail from Bacolod, but I grew up in Mandaluyong, while my wife's from Bulacan. We have been loving and enjoying our life here in Bangkok for the past almost 10 years now. And, we like it because it's very close to home, to Manila. We go home once a year for our annual vacation. So very, very young family of 4. Now, you might be wondering, paano ako napunta sa hotel industry? So let me share you those moments. When I was young, I had a lot of aspirations. I wanted to be a musician, and then mahilig ako magbuting-ting ng mga bagay. So sabi ko, baka siguro pwede maging archaeologist. And then, when I grew up, I saw that my dad was into, computers. He was a computer engineer. So sabi ko, I wanted to be like my dad, to be a computer engineer. And then when I got older, sabi ko, okay, siguro, since I like talking, I like hearing stories from people, siguro maging psychologist ako. So all these things, inside my brain, I met different people, different industries. May mga kaibigan akong nasa airline industry, nasa cruise industry, and I didn't really understand, what they were doing. So, paano ako napunta sa hotel? It was actually that one night. My eldest sister, she actually took up nursing at that time, and then she realized that it was really not the right field for her. So she shifted to mass communications. But then eventually she ended up a job in a bank as a teller, and then she moved to a hotel. And then one night, she called me, sabi niya, Jed, I think I was still in high school, my later years in high school. Sabi niya, Jed, night shift ako, sunduin mo naman ako dito. Sabi ko, saan ka man nagtatrabaho? You might see the photo right now that you will actually see is the Sofitel Manila, which used to be the Westin Philippine Plaza. And she called me that evening, sabi niya, Jed, sunduin mo naman ako dito kasi gabi na, delikado. So I borrowed my dad's car, drove to the Western Philippine Plaza, and then sabi ko, nagpark muna ako sa gilid. And I was looking at the building, so ang ganda-ganda nito ah. And then she was, ang tagal-tagal niya lumabas. So sabi ko, Inday ang tawag ko sa kanya, Inday, nasan ka na? And then sabi niya, ay, matatagalan pa ako. If you want, go up the lobby. I'll meet you there para makita mo rin yung workplace ko. So I went up the lobby, and then from that very moment, I was awed by the ambiance of the lobby, the hotel itself. It was so grandiose. And I saw, socialites, different people. My sister herself was really well dressed, very professional looking, parang ang bango-bango niyang tignan. And that's when I realized na, parang gusto ko yung gantong klaseng environment. So, naging inspiration sa akin yun na, okay, sige, let me try this out. Siguro mag-apply ako ng HRM or HRA course, right? So, and that's what I did actually. I took up hotel and restaurant administration at the University of the Philippines back in 1995. I had a great time. It was really a great exposure, had fun years. We had beverage classes, beverage tasting classes, tapos actual outside catering pa kami. Kaya you can see in the photo as well, na naka-chef's hat kami, naka-pang-uniform kami. And we actually did an actual simulation of running a restaurant at that time. And during those years as well, I come from humble beginnings. We really did not have much as a family. So, I started to also look for, side jobs. So during summer, I would wait on tables. I would, ask classmates, oy, meron ba kayong outside catering business dyan? Baka pwede akong tumulong, magbus ng tables ng mga tao, or wash the dishes and all those. And I did all those. And it was challenging, but I thought it was a good experience kasi dun ko nakikita and have a better understanding of how it is to be in the industry, in the hotel, whether it's in the food or in the accommodation or in the cruise or in the airline. So it was a good exposure for me. It was fun and challenging both at the same time. And then on the latter part of my education, I had the opportunity to have my internship at one of the prominent hotels, EDSA Shangri-La, in Ortigas area. I went through different departments naman. I had the opportunity to go through different sections of the hotel, hindi lang isang department. And I stayed there for about 3 months, yung internship ko. So you would see in the photos as well. This was 20 years ago, so batang-bata pa ako niyan. So I went through the purchasing department. I went through the concierge team. And I remember at that time, nung nasa concierge ako, ginawa akong parang bellboy or parang door opener sa lobby. And I was so happy at that time because there was this parang balikbayan lady who siguro, I was there standing, naawa sa akin. She gave me a tip of 500 pesos. And at that time, it was so huge. And I was really, really happy. And sabi ko, wow, ganito pala dito, no? Everyone's happy. They just give you tips and here and there. And, you really see different lifestyles of different people that go inside the hotel. So that was really, really fun. I also had the exposure to go through the kitchen, sa back operations. So I remember peeling, sacks of potato para sa isang banquet dinner for 2,000 people. Tapos naghihimay kami ng okra, ng string beans. And then I also had an exposure, again, waiting, naging food attendant ako sa famous Chinese restaurant nila sa Summer Palace. So it was really sort of like a well-rounded experience for me. It was really very, very humbling at that point in time. Ito naman, I was in a training department with Jeffrey De La Paz and then yung director of HR nila. So from operations to the back office to the office itself, it was really a good exposure for me kasi nakita ko ano yung relation from one department to another. Yung from the kitchen and then to the service and then to the stewarding sa naghuhugas ng plato. So I had a better understanding of how the hotel business was being run at that time. And I was really, really excited. All the more when I moved from one department to the other. Lalo akong na-excite na, ganito pala yun. I didn't realize na ganito pala yung ginagawa nila. So it was fun. I really learned a lot from different people, from different departments. To the point nga na naisip ko, talaga bang, when I was in housekeeping, I remember, cleaning the toilets, washing the glasses and everything. And, I realized na, may gumagawa talaga ng trabahong to, and, it was really, really a humbling experience for me. So I graduated, ayan, medyo healthy pa ako niyan. Back in 2000, as Bachelor of Science in Hotel and Restaurant Administration. Pagkalabas ko sa school, I had the opportunity to actually apply for a job in a small hotel chain, which, as you may know already, Discovery Suites in Ortigas. And, pag fresh grad ka, you hand on your resumes, di ba? Sige, distribute ka. Bahala na kung sinong tumawag sa'yo na interesado sa'yo. So, I got a call. The hotel wasn't open yet. They were under construction. And sabi nila, we're hiring right now. Pero that was in July, I remember. Pero March pa kami magbubukas kasi hindi pa tapos yung building. So I applied. I got lucky, I think. I applied for a sales executive position. And mind you, I did not have a clue at all of what a sales executive, what's the responsibility of a sales executive. I have zero knowledge. But then I used my charm and my gut na, sige, sayang naman sales executive kagad, di ba? Yung position kagad yung hinahanap ko. Sige, why not? I signed the contract and they told me that I was employee number 1. So I was so ecstatic. I was so happy at that time. And then a few moments after signing the contract, pauwi na ako nun, my friend who worked for Makati Shangri-La called me. Sabi niya, Jed, interesado ka ba? Kasi nagmamass hiring sila right now at Makati Shangri-La, so why don't you go and apply? Sabi ko, nako, I just signed the contract with Discovery, so what am I gonna do? Sabi niya, sige, they have a week naman of doing that exercise, so up to you, think about it. So I went back, problemado ako nun kasi sabi ko, sales executive na position na to, tapos pupunta ako sa front desk, parang iba yung job level, parang parang ito na nga executive na yung dating ko tapos pupunta ako as an front office agent. And not to demean naman not to degrade the job level, but you know, nung bata ka wala ka pang pag-iintindi nun, di ba? So I was thinking, I was asking my uncle, my parents, ano bang tingin nyo, you know, should I stay in this job kasi it's a sales executive na ako, or should I try it out as a front desk agent? I remember one of my aunties told me na, Jed, you know, bagong graduate ka, wala ka pang alam sa industriya, maigi na magsimula ka sa baba so that you can build your foundation, so you can really understand how it is, and then you work your way up. So from that point, naisip ko kagad, yeah, that's true, I'll do that. So I applied for the position. My first job at Makati Shangri-La was a front desk agent. You know, when you enter the hotel where you check in, sir, good morning, you know, welcome to Makati Shangri-La, can I have your passport? You know, all these things. It was a bit of a routinary job, but it was very, very fun as well, because I met, you know, business people, you know, socialites and all those, and I could check in, and I learned a lot from I learned a lot from it as well. But then I thought, okay, I actually just stayed there for about 1 year in that particular position. So sabi ko, okay, until when ko gagawin to? It's like a routinary thing. I need to learn more. I want to explore more, and you know, and I was thinking of my future as well. No, if yes, at that time I was earning this much salary. Kung magkakapamilya ako, paano ko mapapakain yung family ko with this amount of salary? I need to progress. So the opportunity came for me to work naman, to apply in sales. So after a year, I moved to the sales department of Makati Shangri-La as sales manager. This was me, very, very totoy, as they say. We had an event for a group of country heads of different banks, of different institutions. This was at the basement of the Metropolitan Museum. We actually held a dinner there. So you can see, pang early 90s pa yung suit ko. Medyo baggy pa yung dating. But it was fun. But it was also an awakening for me kasi yes, I got the position at that time, but then I didn't have a clue. You know, my job was to sell the hotel, sell the property, but I didn't know how to converse with people. You know, when I meet you, anong pag-uusapan natin? When I invite you over for lunch to see the hotel, what do we talk about? So, you know, I did some shadowing, I did some training with more senior people in the office, and they basically taught me, you know, how it is to converse, you know, what stories to tell, you know, what kind of knowledge you need basically when you talk to, let's say, president. Because being a sales in the industry, you know, you really talk to people from different walks of life. You know, from a secretary who makes the bookings at hotel, to a manager, to even the country head of the company. So you need to be very, very well-rounded. You need to know what's really happening in the market, you know, at that point. And then I was promoted as senior sales manager. This is our team at that time. So I was handling the key accounts of Makati Shangri-La. And then I also got promoted as a director of business development at that time. So my main function was to really look for business. You know, I was given the opportunity to travel overseas. My accounts then, yung hinahawakan kong industry was, you know, the BPO section, yung mga call centers. Because as you know, these call center companies, they actually book hotels for their trainers, yung mga galing sa US, na, you know, they train the staff here, so they need accommodation. So yun yung target ko before. So what happened was, you know, I traveled to India, different cities, to, you know, knock on the doors of these call center companies, encouraging them that when you have trainers traveling to the Philippines, you know, please book them and stay at Makati Shangri-La. And that was my duty. This is a photo of one of our incentive trips. Since we achieved our targets, you know, we got to travel to Boracay, the entire sales and marketing team, as a treat of the hotel of the company for achieving our yearly targets. We were actually branded as the hotel marketing team of the year for the entire Shangri-La group, and we were very, very happy at that time. And I remember when I was director of business development, it's not easy because you need to source new markets, you need to source new clients, you need to look for new clients. And since call center industry ang hawak ko, syempre panggabi sila. Gabi rin yung trabaho ko in a way. So I would go out at 9 in the evening, sinasabihan ko yung oras ng operations ng call center in order to meet yung taong in charge na nagbubook ng hotel for the guests of the call centers. So pagdating ko sa kinaumagahan, tulog muna and then go back again to the office. So it was fun. This is my team right back when I was director of business development. So it was a well-rounded team, as you can see. And then after that, sabi ko, okay, as director of business development, what's next for me? I need to move forward. I look at the positions of my boss and other colleagues. I want to be a director of sales. So paano yon? Walang opportunity kasi the current position is occupied in my hotel. So sabi ko, okay, at that point in time, nagbukas si Shangri-La Mactan Island Resort in Cebu for a director of sales position. And ito na naman yung challenge na dumating sa akin kasi I come from a corporate hotel background. Ang negosyo namin was more of very corporate business hotel. And then I will be moving to a resort, which is a totally different ballgame, more of a leisure market. But then I was blessed to move to Mactan in Cebu as director of sales with the support, of course, of my direct superiors. And I stayed there for about 2 years. Really, really fun, really lovely hotel. You might have seen this as well in one of the slides from a previous webinar, Miss Agnes as well. She also worked there. We had a great time there, although the job itself was very, very different kasi in a business hotel, you work weekdays, Monday to Friday. Dito sa resort sa Cebu, my weekdays were gone. Kasi most of the time, yung mga clients namin from Manila, they would fly in during weekends. So that's when we would do site inspections of the hotel. We would do negotiations. And then it's really a resort, no? Weekdays, medyo low yung occupancy, but weekends do spike up. I had a team, a multicultural team I had a Russian team member, I had a Japanese, I had 2 Koreans, and I had a Chinese. Of course, the property itself catered to the domestic market, but majority of our market were coming from these markets that I've mentioned earlier, year-round. So it was really, really busy, but I really had a great time there, 2.5 years. And then medyo nangati na naman unti yung pa ako, and me and my wife were praying that, okay, where we will go next, right? Siguro let's try natin for a posting overseas, right? Maybe for a year or 2. Let's see how it feels to be an expatriate. Kung lalabas ka, ano yung mas magiging well-rounded ka, yung exposure mo, mas magiging saleable ka in a way. So at that point as well, I was offered a job to go to Bangkok, the Shangri-La in Bangkok, as director of corporate sales. Shangri-La Bangkok is a huge property. Ang kagandahan nito is that the property itself is located along the riverside. So my background working in a corporate hotel and then working in a resort was really appropriate for the atmosphere of this hotel kasi it's like an urban resort. It's in the city pero the way it sells itself is parang nasa resort siya. It's along the riverside. So yun yung nangyari. So I got the job as director of corporate sales. I was handling a team of 1 Japanese and the rest were basically locals. At first, I had difficulty really adjusting kasi the work culture was very, very different. The market was also very different. We had, different geo markets na to from around the world na. Because of the huge facility as well, we catered to a lot of conventions as well, a lot of business meetings, a lot of Chinese tourists at the same time. So it was a good mix. When I was there, I remember handling different heads of state, head visits, mga dignitaries. I remember handling the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Korea, India, and the President of Tajikistan, and even Pinoy when he actually visited Bangkok for an official trip. He was invited by the government of Thailand. I was actually allowed to handle the delegation at that time. So I really liked it, but we had to manage our expectations kasi kami yung banyaga sa bansa na yon. Spent about 2.5 years there, and then I got a call from a headhunter. And then I said, would you be interested to move to a different property? So sabi ko, working with the Shangri-La for 14 years, I think, I need some change. I need growth. I need something new, something fresh. So I applied, got the job, and that's where I landed. Before that, I want to show you the fun moments. This was during Songkran in Bangkok. Yung Thai festival, Thai New Year nila, where may water gun sila, namamasa sila lahat. So this was the time na tinapon nila ako sa swimming pool, all in my suit. So I was really drenched, all wet, but we had a great time when I was there. So yun, after that, I moved to the Peninsula, Bangkok. And I've been with this company for about 7 years now. Still enjoying it, still loving it, really. And I'm basically handling the entire sales team of the Peninsula Bangkok. You might be wondering if it's almost the same as the Peninsula Manila. Yes, Peninsula Manila is actually our sister hotel, our sister property. And please allow me to share with you more information about the brand, the place that I work with. We're actually located along Chao Phraya River, and it's an urban retreat. It's a safe haven. That's how we actually sell the property itself. We cater to a lot of business people, a lot of leisure travelers. We cater to a lot of groups as well for corporate meetings. Let me show you one video. Of the hotel after this slide, but just to give you also more information about the brand itself. We are a small luxury chain brand of about 10 hotels, 3 properties in the US, that will be in New York, Chicago, and Beverly Hills, and 6 hotels in Asia. So Hong Kong, Tokyo, Bangkok, Manila, Shanghai, and Beijing. And we have 3 more hotels in the pipeline, which is in London, and Istanbul and Yangon, and we also have one current hotel in Europe, which is in Paris, which opened back in 2014. So let me show you this video to give you an idea of what we really do as a hotel, as a brand. There. So we're located along Chao Phraya River, and we do position the hotel as an urban retreat. It's a resort as well, and we really pride ourselves in terms of the level of personalization that we actually do for our guests. You saw the helicopter ride, so we're very proud of the accessibility factors. We're the only hotel in Bangkok that offers helicopter service. If you want to go more local, we actually provide Peninsula tuk-tuk as well around the city. You can ride the BMW or the Rolls-Royce as well. And being on the riverside, we also provide complimentary shuttle boats for our guests. So it's really the overall experience that you would get to try when you're staying on property. We have a total of 370 guest rooms. The design is very classic, very traditional. And what's really nice is that all of the rooms are guaranteed full river view. You know what? And I would always joke around it. Every time na may Pinoy na pupunta sa Bangkok, I would always ask them, "Oy, saan ka nagsistay?" And sasabihin nila, always stay in the Pratunam area, malapit sa shopping. And I would always tell them, bakit kayo doon nagsistay? Meron na tayo niyan sa Manila. Kung pupunta kayo sa ibang bansa, might as well stay in an area na you're not familiar with, diba? That's the essence of traveling. So I would always sell them the hotel, and I would always tell them that, stay at the Peninsula, and akong mag-aalaga sa inyo. So 370 guest rooms. We have 4 food and beverage outlets as well. And what's also really good about it is that each restaurant gives you a unique dining experience. All are actually facing the river. Mapa Thai restaurant namin, or yung Chinese Cantonese restaurant namin, or yung all-day dining namin, River Cafe and Terrace. And of course, the signature Peninsula afternoon tea. Siguro for some of you who are well-traveled, narinig nyo na yung afternoon tea ng Peninsula sa Hong Kong na pinipilahan talaga. Now you have to wait for 2 hours just to get a seat at the lobby. So that's our signature sort of like offer then in Bangkok. We really focus more on our health and harmony. So aside from providing accommodation, food and beverage, part of our focus, part of me selling the hotel is our health and harmony. We focus on experiential activities for guests on complimentary basis. So we really look at how can we really take care of our guests, not just in terms of giving a very comfortable room, a nice variety in food and beverage, but also to make them conscious of their health. So we have introduced a lot of experiential programs that actually do that. So from yoga classes to herbal discovery classes to even Thai boxing in Muay Thai, or if you want to also explore how the Buddhist would be accepting offerings from the locals, we actually do that as well on the main street. It's called Tak Bart. So when we sell the property, we basically don't just sell the hardware, the amenities, but we sell them the story behind it. We sell them that, when you stay at the Peninsula Bangkok, these are the things that you will have, these are the things that you will try, and these are the things that you will really get to experience. So it's really more of, ano yung long-lasting impression, kumbaga. This is my team in Bangkok. I have a director of sales, assistant director of sales, and the rest are senior sales managers handling different portfolios as well. So that's sort of like my career path in a way. So I hope that gave you a clear understanding of how I got here basically. But I guess this afternoon is really all about, it's really talking about what were my inspirations basically. What were the basic principles that I used and I applied in my day-to-day activities, in the way I think, the way I believe. And I'm very, very happy to share these with you all today. These are very, very simple, basic principles that really worked for myself, in my career journey. So allow me to share you how these basic principles impacted my life. I call them basically the 10 pillars of success. So are you ready? Okay. So my first principle, and probably you have heard this somewhere or you've read this somewhere already, but I will still use them, and I will try to relate it to my personal experiences as well para makita nyo how effective it is. My first pillar of success is begin with the end in view, right? Earlier I said nung bata ako, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a computer engineer, a musician. I had no clue at all, right? Pero nung tumanda na ako, nung I became more mature, I had more responsibilities, having a family and all those, right? Even in college, right? Kasi yun yung parang turning point, yung tipping point for you. Na parang, okay, magtapos na ako ng college, or papasok pa lang ako ng college, anong magandang kursong kukunin ko? So it's very, very important for you to really envision yourself. What do you really want to do? What is your goal? Gusto mo bang maging milyonaryo? Gusto mo bang mag-own ng sarili mong business? Where do you start, basically, right? I remember when I was young, I envisioned myself, kasi wala pa akong kotse noon, nag-bus lang ako. Sabi ko, alam mo, parang gustong-gusto ko itong beige na Mitsubishi car na to. Gustong-gusto ko to. And one day, pag nagtrabaho ko, ito ang bibilin ko. True enough. Nagtrabaho ako for a few years, nag-ipon ako, and then I was able to get it. Kasi I already envisioned myself deep in my core. Nakita ko na ito yung gusto kong ma-attain, ito yung gusto kong ma-achieve. So, yun yung nangyari sa akin. I was, staying focused on the things that I wanted to do. And, it was really, really difficult at times because you get sideswept. But then you have to keep that vision kung saan mo gusto mong makarating. It's important for you to have that vision because it allows you to start working on it. You know, all's well that begins well. Kung nagsimula ka ng maayos, basically, maayos kang matatapos din, as what they say. It keeps you going right. You know, it allows you to go straight and right to process to get to your destination. Simple things in life. Pag nagda-drive ka ng kotse mo, di ba? Alam mo na kung saan ka pupunta. You don't just ride your car to drive around unless Grab or Uber car ka, di ba? But then you drive, but then you know your destination already. Same thing as what we do in our daily lives, right? Before we act on something, at least alam na natin ano bang gusto kong gawin. And then you go back, how will I do that basically, right? So begin with the end in view. Second point is think big and start small. Okay, think big and start small. Okay, this is me and my son si Caleb. Naglalaro kami dalawa. So little Spider-Man siya, ako si Daddy Spider-Man. At that time, you know, I mentioned earlier na I did not, when I was applying for a job, sales executive kagad yun akong komposisyon. Right? Kasi gusto kong mag-excel sa hospitality. Gusto kong executive title na kagad kasi I want to go up the ranks na. But then, I realized na, teka lang, if I do this, wala pa akong kamuang-muang, wala pa akong kaalam-alam how the industry really works. Baka it's not a good step for me. But then there's the opportunity to start small, you know, start from the very beginning. That's why I opted to start as a front desk agent because I was really willing to learn. I was really willing to understand how it is to work in the hotel. You know, don't expect to understand what it takes to get to the top. Just take the next step. A lot of us actually hesitate to, you know, to start because we get engrossed, we get overwhelmed by, you know, the vision right away. Na, gusto ko tong negosyo to, kaya lang baka hindi ko kakayanin, hindi ko alam kung paano gawin. And, you know, if you stay in that thought, you will never get there, basically. You have to start small, di ba? Start small, magnegosyo ka ng onte hanggang sa matutunan mo. You try to build your values by starting small. You know, ask yourself basically, what are the daily things that I will do today that's going to make me closer to my dream for tomorrow, basically. Literally, anong ginagawa ko today, right now, para ma-achieve ko yung vision ko for tomorrow, right? So, you know, by starting small, it allows us to create the right path for ourselves. You know, the right foundation, kumbaga. Kasi eventually, pag nandun ka na sa taas, and you did not start right in the very beginning, you did not draw the lines, yung wala kang tamang pundasyon, you can really see how mabilis kang bubulusok sa baba kasi yung principles mo hindi maayos from the very beginning. So don't be afraid, you know, it's okay to start small, but keep your dream big. Third point is knowing is half the battle won. Or easy to say, you know, do your homework, prepare. Wag kang, as they say, nga, or wag ka na lang magugulat para, hindi ko alam na ganun pala, di ba? Preparation is really key. Whether sa pag-aaral mo or sa trabaho. Like in my job, for example, right? I sell the hotel as a director of sales. When I knock on a client's door, sinasabi ko before I go into the office, I try to understand, okay, ano yung negosyo nito? Ano yung ginagawa nitong kumpanyang to? Who will I meet? Ano yung background niya? Para at least may talking points ako. I do a lot of research. I do a lot of readings. I listen to a lot of podcasts. You know, I really encourage you to be very inquisitive, be very curious. You know, put yourself in the other person's shoes. Ano kayang gagawin nito kung siya ito, di ba? Funny thing that I could remember, every time na nag-a-apply ako, every time na I interview people applying for sales in our hotel, right? I actually ask them, you know, so what do you know about the brand? What do you know about the Peninsula? And then they just give me a blank stare. Okay, this person did not, you know, do her or his homework. Pumunta lang siya dito, hoping to get the position, but not having the commitment to really, you know more about the company. then I will not waste my time. I give you 2 or 3 questions and then that's it. Do your homework. Preparation is key. It really allows you to understand the overall situation and allows you to make decisions based on facts. So ask yourself, what are my potential key learning moments, right? When I do this research, anong pwede ko pang malaman? It gives you an advantage knowing things ahead. Fourth point is develop good habits. This is really, really important. Good habits are the key to success. Bad habits are unlocked doors to failure, right? Good habits, as simple as pagising mo sa umaga, right? Alam mo, naging habit ko rin to before. Pagigising ka, tingnan mo kagad yung phone mo, check mo yung calendar, yung emails, nasi-stress ka, tapos punta ka ng Facebook, makita mo yung feed about coronavirus, about, yung mga reklamo ng mga tao, and all these, Black Lives Matter. And then it really, really affects you emotionally. Na hindi pa nga nagsisimula yung araw mo, stress na stress ka na, right? So you need to develop good habits, as simple as taking a shower every day, brushing your teeth, for example. We are all creatures of habits. And you really need to consciously realize this. Sometimes kasi you take things for granted na parang, ganito naman ginagawa ko araw-araw, it doesn't really harm me. You don't know it. Pero that habit actually, transcends to the other things that you actually do. And I'd like to point out 3 more things about the developing good habits. You need to develop good habits in the area of your thinking, in the area of feeling, and in the area of doing. Let's go to the first one first, area of thinking. Sabi ni John Maxwell in one of his podcasts, successful people daily think realistically of their problems and positive ways to approach them. Unsuccessful people daily think unrealistically about their problems and hope that everything works out. Hope that everything works out. You see the difference of the two, right? A successful person thinks realistically, ano yung facts, di ba? And tries to solve it in a positive way. The unsuccessful person thinks of, nasa-stress kagad siya, uy, ito yung pwedeng mangyari dyan, nako, hindi pa nga nangyayari, pinangungunahan niya na, right? And then hoping that, the situation will change. So be very, very careful in the way we think on a daily basis, right? You need to develop good habits with that. Area of feeling, he again said, successful people know that their behavior determines their feelings. Unsuccessful people allow their feelings to determine their behavior. So you see the opposite. And last one, the area of doing. Successful people initiate and complete. Unsuccessful people fail to do both. You procrastinate, right? Kung naging habit mo lagi na, pagpasabukas ko lang to, walang mangyayari sa'yo in whatever field you want to pursue. Okay? 5th point, surround yourself with successful people. I joined the webinar yesterday of the architect, and I did see him point out this one as well, surround yourself with successful people. It's okay. I'm not saying that you should be choosy, with your friends, hindi ganon. But, think way ahead, be very, very proactive. You want to be surrounded by winners. You want to be surrounded by successful people in their profession. Why? Because you gain knowledge from them. They can share with you their experience, same as what I'm sharing with all of you right now, right? We stop growing when we stop learning, right? We need to have a growth plan. And, it's really, growth is really not automatic. It's living is automatic, but growing is not. You need to have to plan yourself. And one instrument you can use is basically to talk and socialize with these people, right? Kung mahilig kang tumambay na lang araw-araw with the same group of people, then it's the same thing. Tatambay ka na rin habang buhay kung gusto mo. Walang taong magsasabi sa'yo na, hey, you need to do better than this. In fact, in my line of work, I've dealt with very, very difficult bosses. First initial reaction mo, ano ba to? Ayokong maging ganito. Ayokong maging, pag nandiyan ako sa posisyon na yan, hindi ko pagagalitan yung staff ko ng ganito. But then another thought process is that, bakit tong taong to nasa posisyon na yan? Bakit? Anong success points niya? Why is he or she strong in that area? So, yun ang nangyari sa akin. I really admired, my bosses, and I really take notes, and really learn from them. Ano yung mga good practices and bad practices. I literally took note of them kasi sabi ko, pag nandun ako sa position na yon, I will make sure that, I apply the good stuff. You really try to follow people that you like, follow people that are successful in their particular field. Okay? And then, point number 6, learning is life. Dito, medyo magtatagal ako dito ng onte. Learning is life. Do not stop learning. Sabi again, I like quoting John Maxwell. He said that what you learn after you know it all is what really, really counts, right? Hindi porket natapos mo na yung degree na to, okay ka na. You can rest on your laurels. Learning never stops there. Even to this very day, I can tell you, even in this particular position, I am learning from my team. I'm trying to evolve. I'm trying to invest on myself. Earlier, I mentioned that, you need to have a developmental plan for yourself as well. You need to have growth. When we stop learning, we become extinct. We stagnate, right? So you need to be intentional. Read books. Put it on paper. Yung mga notes na mga principles na naririnig nyo, put it on paper para you keep on reminding yourself, di ba? Start investing yourself. Be like a sponge, absorb as much as you can. Sift and filter kung ano yung bagay sa'yo, kung ano yung hindi tama sa'yo, tingin mo hindi tama. Try to separate that. Be curious like a toddler. And, you're able to also review, what went wrong, what went right, and how can you do better next time. Right now, I can share with you that, my learning curve right now is in the field of digital marketing. I want to learn more about e-commerce, about digital marketing, because that's the trend right now with the proliferation of social media around. Ito na yung main channel na pinapasukan ng lahat ng mga tao. So yeah, look at online courses. You look at Coursera or Google Garage, where you can get certifications as well. They say that experience is the great teacher. But I've realized in my years of working that evaluated experience is a better teacher. Hindi porket na experience mo na to, okay na yan. Find the time to contemplate. Find the time to assess that experience. Ano bang natutunan ko sa experience na to? What is good about it? What is bad about it? What can I do better next time, right? So we have a lot of interactions every day, from different people. Learn from those interactions as well. Discover what you can learn more from, learning. Learning is really, really fun. As simple as, assessing your day, paggising mo sa umaga, ang mindset mo na dapat is that, okay, what would be my learning opportunity today? Sino ang makakausap ko? Or I would look at my calendar and I would look at it, okay, sino yung makakausap ko today na may matututunan ako? That's how I've trained my mindset. Na, okay, today is a new learning experience. Whether bibili ako ng ganito sa kanto or I will meet this president, I want to learn from that person. So learning is life. Point number 7, do what makes you happy and find your passion. In this photo, this was the guy that I took a photo. I was nagsacycle ako sa Bangkok. And sabi ko, I'll take a photo of you. And he was really, really smiling. And he's been there for years. Every time nadadaan ako, nandyan siya. And, you can really see his passion kahit gaano kasimple yung trabaho niya. But he loves doing it, right? He likes doing that. He loves cooking and he loves selling food to people. And, the whole day nandyan siya. It feels good to do that, right? And same thing for you. You really need to find your passion in a way. Kasi once you discover that passion, right, when you do it and when it's in your line of work, you don't feel na nagtatrabaho ka actually. You feel that you're playing and it becomes natural. Earlier I said I like music. So yes, I do love music. And I sang when I was young. Lagi akong pinapakanta sa mga intermission. And then I learned how to play the keyboards. Although hindi ako naging musician, but at least I found my passion. But then I also realized that bakit ko gustong umakyat sa stage? Bakit ko gustong kumuusap ng mga tao? Yun pala yung isa sa passion ko maliban sa, playing music, playing the keyboards. Gusto ko pala ng engagement with people. And in my field right now, that's what I do. I socialize, I talk, I meet different people from different walks of life. And, I'm really happy doing that. kasi it's part of my job. But at the same time, it's also my core passion. And you know, my passion as well to music, I'm able to bring that into my career right now. Not that kinakantahan ko yung mga kliyente ko, but more of like, you know, pag may minsan may activities sa office, you know, I sing and all those. So sometimes with clients, you know, I use my knowledge in music as part of the conversation. So it comes out naturally sa side ko because that's my passion. Okay? And then number 8, ito, mahalaga rin to for hoteliers when you're in the travel industry, build your brand. Build your brand. So when I say build your brand, hindi ko ibig sabihin na magkaroon ka ng Jed Arricivita company. Your own self-brand, your own self-image is very, very important. Kahit nasa school ka pa rin right now, the way you dress, the way you groom yourself, the way you talk is basically your brand. You need, I remember one director of marketing telling me na ang guide niya sa amin is, you know, before you sell the hotel, you need to sell yourself first. And that struck me really. Sabi ko, oo nga no, before a client allows me to handle his business, I need him to trust me first. And how can I make him trust me? Then I need to build a very reputable brand, right? You need to build the trust. You need to build the client's confidence to trust you. You need to connect through that. So for students, for example, it's as simple as investing on your hairstyle, on your dress. As I mentioned, your grooming, especially in the hospitality industry, first impressions last. You know, I invest so much in suits. You know, I have my haircut twice a week. I go to the gym so that, you know, I would have a nice physique. But then this is really how I really build my brand, because I want people to understand that I can take care of myself and I can take care of your business as well. Katiwa-tiwala ako kasi makikita mo sa simulat sa pool pa lang na kahit sa sarili ko, I can manage myself properly. So if you can see it this way, for sure, I can also manage your multi-million business. So build your brand. When I was young, you know, I tried to learn how to use the chopsticks. Hindi ako marunong. So nagcha-chopsticks ako to pick up, you know, 1 peso para lang matuto. Because I didn't know. But I want people to realize that, you know, I'm taking that extra effort na marunong ko mag-chopsticks kasi ayokong makita nila na wala palang alam tong taong to eh. I read a lot of, you know, books. I read from different, you know, fields. I read the newspaper every day so that when I go to the client, let's say if I go to a client that works in the bank, for example, alam ko what's happening in the banking industry, right? Kahit hindi ganun ka-detailed, but then I've heard of this. It becomes my talking point. And then you get that impression from your client that, wow, this person, you know, seems intelligent. Alam niya yung ginagawa niya. So katiwa-tiwala. So really invest on yourself, on your clothes, on your grooming and all those, on your suits, watches, or shoes, for example. The way you package yourself really impacts a lot, you know, the next step to that. Okay? And last but not the least, of course, I'm sorry, not yet. Point number 9. And this one I take from Ogmandino's books. To struggle is the most certain way of reaching one's highest potential. This is very, very true. There is no easy way to get to the top, right? To get to this mountain, you have to go through lakes, rivers, and all those. It's very, very difficult. You need to struggle, but that would be the most sure way for you to go to the top, right? Remember, lagi sinasabi ng mga negosyante na pag may negosyo, if it's easy money, nako, wag kang maniwala sa ganyan. It's a scam, which is true. Kasi, you know, default thinking natin, oh, easy money, magkikita ulit kagad ako nito. So I'd rather jump into that, right? Totally different when you really work hard for your money, you know, for your business to earn that money. You see, 2 different things. So you really need to, and I'm not saying na dapat mag-struggle ka, dapat maghirap ka talaga. To struggle is part of the process, right? It refines you. It's character building, basically. I will I'll give you a short story. I'm a cancer survivor. Back in 2014, I was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer, and it was really, really difficult. And I thought I was, you know, about to die. But God provided me grace. He healed me basically. I'm now, healthy, as you can see. But going through that process was really a struggle for me, right? But then because I went through that process, it made me stronger as a person. Little did I know that, my wife would also, have cancer, right? So, and she's a cancer survivor now. But then because I went through that process, I was able to guide her properly through her, condition. So, and I was really, really thankful, and, all things work together for good. And God really provided for us at that time that, without that struggle, I wouldn't have known how to handle my wife's situation at that time. So think of it, don't lose hope. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to feel difficulty, but it's how you will really build your maturity, your character, and how you become a better person. Okay? And I think to summarize the last point, which connects to all the other points that I mentioned, number 10, again from Augmentino, there will always be a seed of happiness in every adversity, only if one looks for it. Don't lose hope. Always think of the good side. No matter how difficult our situation right now with the COVID-19, with the coronavirus, in all people, losing their jobs, it's not the end of the world, basically, right? Try to diversify. Try to think. Maybe now is the best time to do more training. Maybe it's now the best time to really reflect, focus more on your health, right? There is always a good side to everything. It's not, don't feel so depressed that, lagi na lang kamalasan na nangyayari. No, there is a good reason bakit nangyayari yung mga bagay na yan. Okay? So all these 10 pillars that I've shown you basically really, really helped me, through my career process. It really made me, grow as a mature person. You lead a team of 10 people in the team right now. And I wanted to show you more photos basically of, what I did, what I have done in the past 3 years. So 7 years now with the Peninsula, I was able to travel to a lot of countries. This was in Peninsula, Hong Kong, where we celebrated yung 150th anniversary ng brand, Hong Kong, Shanghai, and Hotels, back in 2016 in December. And then I also got to travel a lot, as I've mentioned. I went to London, Germany, Moscow. I represented the brand. Kahit nung bata ako, kahit nag-aspire ako to be a steward, kaya lang hindi ako matangkad. Little did I know that, I'd get to travel kahit hindi ako steward sa airline, di ba? With this job, is really, really enjoyable kasi you see different places, yung mga iconic tourist spots, it's there. I really liked it. And then, I went to the US as well, went to Paris. So it was really, really a good exposure. Being in the hotel industry, you meet a lot of your industry colleagues. So, you're exposed to different cultures, different business practices. I was also able to apply in my field. I've met a lot of successful personalities, dignitaries, Hollywood actors and actresses. Yes, kaya lang hindi ko pwedeng banggitin kung sino mga yon. But then you also get to meet industry movers and shakers. So it's a fun industry. And I got to travel. I think I've traveled to about more than 30 countries already in 70 cities worldwide, just selling the hotel. So, I'm proud to represent the Peninsula brand that I work for right now. And I want people to see that, it's not just, the brand that I work for, but it's also because, the reason why I'm sharing this is I want all of you to understand and see that because all of these principles that I've applied in my life, I am who am I today, and it brought me to where I am today. So I hope my story has inspired all of you today. Thank you very much. More pictures to see. Yeah. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that very inspiring lecture. And now we would like to invite everyone to ask questions to our speaker. So here's a question from John Nico Alejo. He said, "Hi, Mr. Jed Arricivita. Sorry. What do you enjoy most about your job?"
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
His question is, what do you enjoy most about your job?
Oh, I enjoy, honestly, I enjoy traveling. I enjoy traveling Kasi para kang nagbabakasyon for free. It's different kasi, you're not with your family when you travel on business. Kasi it's more of like corporate travel. But then you get to explore this and that, different places. And then I also get to meet different people. I try to understand, I try to gain more knowledge from that. So one, traveling is really, really fun. Because I'm in the industry, I get to get very good discounted rates in other hotels as well and the airlines. And then I also enjoy, it's never a dull moment working in the hotel. Hindi tulad sa, pag nasa bangko ka, transactional, ganun lagi, araw-araw ang ginagawa mo, di ba? Sa hotel business, every day is an adventure, right? Your transaction today will never be your transaction tomorrow. You have a different story today and a different story to tell tomorrow. So it keeps your brain alive. It keeps you alert. You tend to be very, very creative in solving problems, in your approach to certain situations. I like it because it's very, very dynamic. It's not monotonous, and that's the best part of working in the hotel. The engagement, seeing the emotions of people, that they're happy during their stay, and they share with you how the hotel staff has actually treated them. When I see that, I feel fulfilled already, that I've done my job well. I've sold the hotel to these people, and the team has basically implemented and delivered the service that is expected. So yeah, I love traveling. I love how dynamic the industry is, kasi iba-iba lagi ginagawa mo araw-araw.
True. Enjoy working with and experiencing new things every day
Yes.
really makes your work more worthwhile. So,
Yes.
what advice can you give to Filipinos who want to venture their professional career overseas?
So my advice is, yes, if there is an opportunity for you to work overseas, please do try. And honestly speaking, I've mentioned, even I've been here for 10 years now, with my whole family. Different situation with other people where they travel by themselves or they work and then the family stays at home. So a totally different environment. But I think it's really a great opportunity and exposure for you to learn more about the field of you're interested in. And I know eventually I have to go back. I have to go back to my mother country. I have to go back to the Philippines. If I retire, I need to go back eventually because that's where home is for me. But for now, I take the opportunity to, since my family is here with me, I take the opportunity to learn more about the country, really expose myself to the different practices in the industry so that when I go back home, I bring that wealth of experience and knowledge that I can share with my team back in the Philippines. There's nothing wrong to aspire, working overseas. It helps. Kung makakatulong makapag-ipon for the time being, go ahead, invest, when you can, right? But don't be afraid and don't feel that you're ungrateful or ingrata or ingrato dahil nag-aral ka sa Pilipinas tapos you work overseas. There's nothing is permanent, right? Eventually, you will realize that you need to go back home. But my word of advice is that, do not let go of the opportunity. If you want to work overseas, yes, please do. But take that time and opportunity as well to really learn and engage with people and bring that knowledge back when you do decide to go back home to the Philippines.
Very true. Sir, having your work being super dynamic, experiencing different things every day. What's the most recent and hardest challenge you encounter in your professional career? What did you do to overcome it?
That's a very good question. Actually, as I've mentioned, every day is a different transaction, right? So it's really difficult to assess what particular scenario. But I think maybe I go back to my personal life as well and how it relates to my job. When I was diagnosed with cancer back in 2014, sabi ko, nako, ang babata pa ng mga anak ko, and then maybe I wasn't really taking good care of my health at that time, but ako nagkaganon because I did work long hours in the hotel, and it was really a stressful job, a lot of deadlines, working long hours, from breakfast to dinner, mingling with clients as well. And that's when I realized that, I wasn't really living a balanced life. And that was the main challenge for me, na ang bata-bata ko pa noon, and then nandito na ako sa stage na to, kung hindi ko aalagaan ang sarili ko, how can I pursue more my goal of, taking care of my family and, pursuing this job further? So it was a tipping point for me. It was really a total paradigm shift in terms of my way of thinking. And I said, I need to stop doing this practice. I need to say no. I need to work from this time to this time only. I cannot stretch myself any longer because it will affect my health at that time. So it was one of my biggest challenge of, how can I balance that? The hotel job demands so much of my time, and at the same time, I have the responsibility to, of course, feed my family. And I'm really, really privileged to be working for Peninsula brand because they understood my situation at that time. So, I had to take a medical leave. They allowed me to be away for a month. And that was a good time for me to really recover and adjust my work style as well. So kung dating nagsistay ako hanggang alas 9 or alas 10 ng gabi, I had to stop that. I had to regularly go to the gym now. I have to lessen my alcohol intake kasi when you're in the hotel, you socialize, you drink wine and all those, right? So I had to look at that. So it's a total revamp of my lifestyle in a way, but I'm really, really happy with how it has, molded me as a better person, I think, in terms of my daily habits, in terms of my eating habits, my lifestyle, as to where I am today. So yeah, I think you should just create that balance. You have that passion, and sometimes you lose your focus, nandun ka lang sa passion na yun, and then you neglect other areas of your life. So in my case, I neglected my health. Then I had to step on the brakes for the time being, and assess my life. How can I arrange it in such a way that I can still continue with my passion, enjoy my job, and look after my family. So yeah, yes, I'm still alive.
That's a good thing. It's really important to take care of your health, especially nowadays due to the pandemic. It's also very inspiring to see what you've accomplished today. But going back during your school days, what is your advice to working students who are doing their best to juggle academics and work during the pandemic?
My best advice is that do not lose hope. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. I understand how difficult it is to juggle, your studies and at the same time you're working. It's a phase, right? It's temporary. But if you continue with that, you really focus on achieving your goal, what you want to be, where you want to be, where you want to go. Itong paghihirap na ginagawa mo right now, juggling things, it will pay off eventually. It will pay off. So do not lose hope. Do not think that, ay hanggang dito lang ako kasi hindi naman ako galing sa mayaman na pamilya. So siguro magtatrabaho lang ako para makatapos ng pag-aaral, and then ito lang yung position na pwede sa akin kasi feeling ko hanggang dito lang ako. Do not think that way. Think big but start small, as I've mentioned earlier, right? Aspire for big things. And with that mindset, right now what you're doing, you're really prepping yourself to achieve that big stuff, right? And you're doing everything that you can to achieve that, right? If you're settling on something na hindi naman ganun kalakihan, or parang you're settling for this job position, but there's actually a better opportunity for you, then you're stealing yourself. You're not allowing yourself to grow. So yes, I understand it's difficult to study at the same time and then also work at the same time, but use the opportunity to really learn, while working, how can you learn from your experience right now? Hindi mo alam, let's say nagtatrabaho ka lang sa fast food, nagtatrabaho ka sa fast food chain, nagluluto ka ng burger, hindi mo alam na that's a tool pala for you to be an executive sous chef. You start from humble beginnings. So don't neglect just because naghihirap ka right now, you think na forever na yan. No. It's character building. Pursue your dreams. Take the opportunity to learn and invest on yourself.
I see. It's very inspiring to see what you achieved despite all of the challenges that you've experienced. You must have been through a lot of struggles before you reached your goals. Which part of your entire journey to success that would make you feel it's all worth it?
I think the mentoring that I had with difficult bosses, and I remember this clearly. I had one director of marketing that I worked with in Manila. This person was really giving me a hard time. I was called into the office. There was a client complaining, and I was very junior at that time. And he told me, Jed, you handle this. Do the complaint letter. I was so stressed at that time because I think it's natural for us to stay away from conflict, right? Everyone hates conflict, right? Ayaw natin na, to be confrontational and all those. So I was asked to prepare a letter of apology, so I had to do research and all those. And when I was typing, I felt something, dripping down my nose, and nag-nosebleed na pala ako. And I didn't realize that I was so stressed at that time just typing the apology letter. And then, from that moment, ang dami pang mga incidents na nangyari, and I started to realize na parang bakit ako lagi ang pinapagawa ng apology letter? Bakit ako laging pinapaharap sa kliyente to appease them para hindi sila magalit and everything? It was really, really difficult, really, really difficult. But I've realized from that point in time that it was him, that person, teaching me really how to handle such situations. Now, in not only that situation of handling, guest complaints or apology, but it's really trying to strengthen me as a person. Kasi hindi ako forever nasa gantong position lang. I will go up the ladder. I will be handling a team of people, a group of people, my team. I'll be given more responsibilities that would require me to make decisions that are more difficult and challenging. So, that was like my aha moment. Kaya pala ko pinapagawa ng mga ganito, kahit ayaw na ayaw ko, is to prepare me for this particular position right now. And with that experience, I'm able to give more value to what my team is actually doing. I see myself as their leader. They do a lot of work. They do the groundwork and everything. I give the proper direction to them in terms of how to do. So that was my aha moment. Going through that difficult situation, and I think writing all those apology letters really paid off. Sa akin parang natural na lang. Okay, I do this. I'll do that. So it was a good learning moment for me.
I see. So going back to your 10 points earlier,
Yeah.
begin with the end in view. Think big, start small. Knowing is half the battle won. Develop good habits. Surround yourself with successful people. Learning is life. Do what makes you happy and find your passion. Build your own brand. The struggle is the most certain way of reaching one's highest potential, and there will always be a seed of happiness in every adversity, only if one looks for it. Those are very inspiring quotes, sir. So, Sir Jed, thank you so much for that. Your stories were lovely and inspiring. You
Thank you.
basically hit the nail in the head. Our viewers can definitely use your experience as a baseline or a blueprint in their career journey. Thank you again, Sir Jed.
Thank you very much.
Stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you. Have a great day.